Hello, this is Blademan Unit Pi, and I have something rather unpleasant to talk about. And it has something to do with Skylanders, but it's not something that I can necessarily blame Activision for doing. But it's something that needs to be addressed, and it's something that needs to be acted upon pretty quickly. What I'm talking about is basically the there is a new variant they're going at, they've never done before, called what's it called? It's like blue something. Now, that's fine and dandy, and the figures do look, they're a little lazy, but they look okay. The problem comes about is what they're about. And what they're about is actually they are giving a portion of the proceeds from these Skylanders to a charity called Autism Speaks. And yes, I did air quotes. And I do that because Autism Speaks is not a good charity to support. They're pretty much they're going to cause more trouble. That's what they do. They're more or less they're more about like dealing, like trying to promote the way that they places dealt with autism, rather than actually helping pushing things, making things happen better. They're more about trying to force people to act more normal, which kind of like can't force someone to act normal. And so these variants, I almost bought one today. Luckily, what it was is that it was put out too soon by my local GameStop. They got a warning on the machine, oh, they don't need to do it, and he was explaining to me that it was something to do with the charity, and when I asked him what it was, and he told me, I was horrified. Very horrified. So the two figures that I'm talking about is like the blue version of Splat and the blue version of Trigger Happy. It's a new Trigger Happy. Well, that's the thing. And again, this company, they look legit. They really do. So you can't really blame them too much, but still. You can't blame Activision. So I'm not saying boycott Activision on this. But please, I wish people would not buy the blue Skylanders until basically Activision says, no, we're not going to be giving to that charity. That's my feeling on it. If they can, because they need to distance themselves from this charity. It causes harm. All they really do is try to push on the idea of what like schools and all these people were doing back in the day. Back in the 90s, they're basically pushing on like that that autism people need to be more normal. It's like, no, that doesn't work. Because I've been diagnosed with Asperger's. Also, it's like high functioning atypical autism or something. It's like a really long name, another name they gave it. So, I've been given that title, that diagnosis, and they call it a syndrome, and I kind of don't necessarily believe it's really appropriate to be called a syndrome. It's identification of similar personality traits, I guess. I don't know. It's just that I just don't quite see things the same way. I think significantly differently. I don't believe it should be considered a disability, but whatever. That's how it is, and you can't really do that. But this company goes against the very fabric on the best ways to handle being. Figuring out how to be. They cause a lot of harm. And Activision, I know they get a lot of BS, but the whole thing is that, they don't know what's a good charity and what's not. I mean, none of us do. you have to like do some research, and you have to learn about it, and it's like, unless you are someone who is on the autism spectrum, you don't really know who it is. So it kind of like feels like, I love the Skylanders series. I love the figures. I love the sculpts. I just love what they're doing. It kind of feels like a betrayal here. I mean, I know it's why they did it. It's just because they didn't know better. Most people wouldn't. So anyway, I heard about the company, and they just push the wrong stuff, and it's something that it happens, and we just need to figure out how to deal with it. But at the same time, they kind of hurt so many people, and now Activision is supporting this company, this non-profit of conformity. They're trying to, and again, it's not something you can blame Activision for doing, but it's something that needs to be addressed. And I'm afraid to say, even though I really liked how the new Splat looks, I'm boycotting it, and I think everyone who really cares about people dealing with autism should do it too. And one of the things is that, yeah, it won't affect me directly, but I have at least 2 nephews that are dealing with this, and they're going to be dealing with these negative companies, these negative nonprofits that are going to cause harm. He's going to be dealing with them now, and Activision is, by supporting this nonprofit, has made things harder for them, because every time you hear about Autism Speaks, it's like they sound really good, but their practices are where everything falls apart. So I'm hoping I can reach people. This is rather important to me, because I grew up with what Autism Speaks is trying to promote on how I'm dealing with people with autism. I grew up with it. And, I graduated high school, normal age, 18. And I'm 31, and I'm now starting to get by some of the mental scars that I was left with because of how I was treated, how all this stuff happened, all the scars. I'm just now getting past it. I've been scarred so deeply that it took me until I'm in my 30s to start really getting by it. That's pretty bad. And Autism Speaks is promoting those kind of practices that cause that. So, I just hope that I can make a difference in this one, because it's terrifying. Because I'm a huge fan of the Skylanders, and it's just kind of like them promoting the abuse, because it is abuse. What this company does is abuse. What they're promoting is abuse. And basically, it needs to be nipped in the bud as soon as we can. Because I grew up with what they are asking for, what they want to do. I grew up with it. And I am just now starting to get by it. Get where I can try to live a normal life. Try to have relationships properly. Trust people. So, I wouldn't want anyone else to have to go through what I've been going through. And this is the Activision. I don't blame you, because they look good on paper. They really do. But please don't make other people go through what I had to go through. Because it's so hard to deal with, and it's painful. Very, very painful. So, alright everyone, everyone who watches, I don't know if anyone will, but I'm trying. Peace, love, and peanut butter. And really look at how to help people for real. Autism is something that needs to be understood. And I am not a blue puzzle piece.